So we can get started again?
Attention, please.
We'll move forward at this point to the book, Reynosa, the main topic today. And for this section of the presentation, try to go through it a little bit quicker than the first part because it's self-explanatory. And thank you for those who have already bought the book. Show you a little bit about the front cover, the guide and the names, how they're structured, a little bit of what I call fun facts, some statistical extracts, and then the main part, our heroes, the people who got married, yes, descendants of the original settlers. Here's the cover. Here are the people I mentioned in the book. They wrote the book. I just extracted the information. I don't want to put that I authored the book. It's actually called Libro de Matrimonios, and their names are on here all over the place. Here's the most famous one, of course, Nicolas Bailly. He's the South Padre guy. The guide, yeah, the guide. The guide is, this is from the electronic version. If you have it, if you have the print book, it's set up to be very similar to understand. In this section, everything in blue refers to the groom, everything in pink refers to the bride, and the casta is in green, meaning they're I'm going to call it perceived social caste, because who knows? And then red are notes. In this isn't in the actual file, but it's in this particular image. I have to recognize I misspelled something there. Oops. But that's only here. It's not in the book, and it's not in the book. All right. The fun facts. I just listed 3 names that came to my mind as I was putting this together. José Matías Gómez, Mariano Lira, Silverio Berridi. I think that's the way to say that. I'm not sure. There's la ahogada, that means the drowned person, victim. El regaño means that there was a scolding, and of course the guy says, okay, that doesn't sound like fun. So maybe that part should be interesting facts instead of fun. I'll tell you a little bit. José Matías Gómez, his name appears in so many marriage records, I said, okay, this guy has to be connected to the church. But independently, in another set of records and research I was doing, I ran across him as a witness and told exactly who he was, where he was from, and what he was doing there. José Matías Gómez was the notary public. So he was the one writing a lot of the entries that the priest would come in and sign on. And he was from Sarajevo, and he ended up getting married in this marriage book. So if you are a Gómez or know of a Gómez, you might be a descendant of José Matías Gómez. Mariano Lira, the reason he's there is because, and again, most of the marriages in this particular book were conducted by a friar named Agustín Lira. And I said, well, Lira, that's not that common of a name. Let me see what I can find out. I looked, Mariano Lira, again, he comes out so many times as a witness. And he gets married in the book. And it says where he's from. It says he's from Zacatecas. So I thought, okay, this guy he's definitely connected to the priest somehow because the priests come from Zacatecas. That's speculation, but I think it's fair to say that we now have a little bit more knowledge about him. Then we have Silverio. Silverio, his name is spelled about 10 different ways. His last name is. And his first name, the little v changes to a v depending on who's writing. But he is a recent arrival. If it's not him, it's his parents. He is closer to Spanish lineage than most of the people in this particular book of facts, as you will. Okay, the next slide shows you, we'll see this a little later maybe, but el regaño refers to what I'm calling the bishop's holy scolding. Within the text of the book, the priest, the bishop from Nuevo León comes in and he gets mad. You can tell by his writing. He's saying, Mr. Agustín Lira, we are accepting your book, and I'll loosely translate here, but he gets to the part where he says, you need to stop marrying people from other locations without them being cleared by the churches where they're coming from. And then the people that you do marry here, you need to find out about them because they seem to be, because of the ignorance of their parents, resulta que los hijos sean tan estúpidos que no, en los misterios de nuestra fe. He says, they're not well instructed in our faith. And you need to, before you keep marrying people, make sure you get that part. So I thought, hey, that's a different note than most marriage books have. So there it is in this section. I'll show you some stats here. They're not in the book. I can send you a copy of the slides, or if you're interested in this kind of stuff, please email me. Copy my email at the end of the presentation. The stats, here the marriages conducted by the priest. Mr. Lira did the most. Bai did the least. Bai, though, ended up, some of the marriages that he does conduct here, it already shows that they're over here in Matrimonios. It already shows that they're at, what was it called? San Juan de los Esteros is what the marriage record says. Well, that's what became Congregación de Refugio, which became Matrimonios, which became a lot of the people who now live in Cameron County. So he only appears this many times in the book, but he got busy in Matrimonios, that's what. All right, the years, the first year on record and the last year on record show low numbers. That's because of the start. It just happened that way, right? But look at all these other years. They're pretty consistent until this one peaks. But in 1802, can anyone tell me why 1802 had a low number? This is my conjecture. I think it's pretty safe, and you might agree with me. 1802 is when they experienced a horrific flood, June 26th to July 4th. They were inundated. They moved. After many years of wanting to, they finally moved from their original settlement to the Lomas de San Antonio, the hill where the plaza is now. That's why I believe that so few marriages got recorded there, is because they were busy with, you know, Mother Nature, not the Mother Nature from intermission. All right. When did they marry? January. Look at that number. Why January? Right? Is it what happened to June as being the first third of the month? These are the highest consecutive numbers. And then look, on Mondays, through a little bit of database coding, I was able to get the dates to display what day of the week it was. Yes, sir. But I was looking for, I was thinking Saturday. I was thinking que el sábado, ¿no? De todas maneras me sorprendió.
Porque solo casaban los domingos, for the most part.
Not in the 1790s.
Not in the 1790s.
For whatever reason. But somewhere, somehow, these little clues are what put together the stories that, you know, that evolve into family histories. So that's why I included them. I thought, you know, and some people like stats, like me. I was able to extract this information as well. Here we go with the main the prestige category, of course, was being labeled in Espanol. People that were labeled Espanol weren't necessarily Espanol. Or if they were Espanol, they weren't necessarily, what do you call it? Pure Espanol? The DNA stats, I'll share this is separate. The DNA stats that I get, many of us get from Crispin Rendon, he says 75% of the parental lines are European, 75% of the maternal lines are indigenous from the get-go. All right. So if you don't fall in that category, I mean, if you fall in that category, you do not this. Nevertheless, this is the labels that were used. Mestizo, they even went as far as saying mulatto esclavo. Okay, so 3 of them were labeled like that. And
what's coyote?
Coyote, I believe, I didn't try to learn exactly, but once you have a mestizo, if that mestizo married an Indio, that was a coyote. Right? So now here's what gets me, and I'll use Zamora as an example, one of my favorite colonization view. Zamora comes in listed as a mulatto, right? Now he's already a mulatto, which means half European and half indigenous. No, I said that wrong. Half African, right? So, but then it says that his daughter is a mulatto. But the mother is not. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't match up. The daughter, to be a mulatta, has to come from a white and a black parent. But she's already coming from a mulatta. So that's why it's so inconsistent, but still interesting to have this information. Yes, sir?
Y otras ocasiones, ese nombre lo ponía el sacerdote por el color que veía, sin estar cierto si era o no mulato. Él lo veía moreno y es mulato.
Sí.
No tenía que ser.
Right.
Y el sacerdote que era.
O por hacerle el favor a alguien le ponía, pues tú eres español. You could be considered a Spaniard by your customs, by your parents who said, you know, making that, do us the favor because we need him to be in this class instead of that class.
Sir,
Yes,
my
ma'am.
great-grandfather Nicolás Zamora on the census was Pardo. What does that
Pardo.
mean?
Okay, Pardo. See, now, the Zamoras come in with all different descriptions. But Pardo, I believe, you guys know this better than me, so, but I believe is a mulatto who marries a white person. So it's like a third African. Now, we'll get to another part later, which is all of this, a lot of this can be enhanced by DNA. So we'll take a look at that information. Here is I made another extraction of information. This is Valle de Pilon, by the way. It's a little bit off the screen. Grooms were from Reynosa, where it was indicated. Brides were from Reynosa mainly. After that, we have Camargo. After that, we have, oh, by the way, 1802. Maybe they went to Camargo to get married. Maybe that's for you researching Reynosa ancestors. Well, they weren't getting married in Reynosa. Maybe they got married in Camargo. And they would say Vecino de Reynosa. So, one of my ancestors, and my cousin is here from Lago. I want to thank him for coming here. Thank you, Art. We have an ancestor from San Fernando. And because of the information that comes in the book, we're able to now extend that family line. So only 4 people were listed of the grooms were listed from Rio de Janeiro. The other big one was still coming from Monterrey. All right. Average ages, the men whose ages were listed, the average was 26 and a half. The average for the females was 18. If you apply a little bit more of math on this, and use what they call the standard deviation, you can get a range of ages, and you will, instead of taking what some people call what I call a wild guess S, or something like that, you can get a statistical range of this person had to have been born between this age, between this year and this year. And you won't come up with things like he was born in 1748 and got married in 1751, which I've seen. Other information that's available, because of the ages, now there's an absence of information for these villas, right? But because of the ages, we can now backtrack and say, we have births that we didn't know about before that are taking place, especially where it says not only their age, but where they're from. So all these people are listed with their ages, and we now have a birth here for them. Isn't that kind of cool? All right. And other information that's easy to extract. Anyone that wants this kind of information, please get a hold of me. I don't know why you would want it, but you might if you're doing research. Deaths, burials, widows, ranches. That's one of the areas where a lot of people say, I want to know what ranch my ancestor was from. Dispensas, a lot of people are listed in here as being dispensados, which means they were related to each other. And we now have another clue in our genealogy to say, hey, there's Villarreal, we married in Hinojosa, they're related, so we gotta find that common link. I'm gonna ask Moises Garza, who is here today as well, to open the PDF file, and we'll do a quick run of the e-version of this. I think it's open in the second window over there. There it is. Oh, it's going to do the same thing. You probably have to reopen it once it's. I'm looking at my slides here on my phone. I'm not checking my email.
Which one is it, that one?
It is that one, yes, sir. Okay, so this is, if you buy a book today, I'm emailing you the PDF version of it, which is this. And the way it works is after the cover, if you scroll down to the next section, you're going to reach a part that says, there's the guide that I showed earlier. You're going to reach a part right there if you stop, please. If you click on Appendix A, we'll get it going that way. Appendix A is a list of names that are included with a variation of spellings, so you don't get sidetracked too much and say, I didn't find my name. Well, here's a way for you to straighten out the different ways that they may have been spelling. If you, more says again, please. If you click up there where it says, up there, yes, right there, it says búsqueda de apellidos. It takes you to the name index, and here is on one side all the grooms and the brides, and on the other side all the brides and the grooms. That is a very, I did it this way because I've done a lot of research and I said I want to make it easy for people to find their ancestor. And I haven't seen an easier index than this one. If you click on any of those names, let's go to, anyone have a name that they know is on there or that they want to look for?
Cayetano Medrano.
Which one?
Cayetano Medrano.
Cayetano Medrano. Wow. Okay, he's awesome. Now that I know who he is. Okay. Cayetano Medrano there he is, up here. 139. Cayetano got married. Look where he gets married. Rancho Juan, I think I should have said I put it the way it appeared to me. But San Juan de los Esteros, that's the Matamoros area. Guess where his descendants are found now if you look through the records. They're in Brownsville. They're in Matamoros. So this is a good way to connect back. Is he married? Oh, okay. It's by Agustin Lina. So again, that's how easy it is to find an ancestor. It includes where, look, he's from San Fernando. He's another person from San Fernando. You can find his Medrano line by going to the San Fernando records, which are already available in the libraries. The most valuable part of the book is the fact that it links you to the original images. The original images, this is, if you click on this link, if we have internet access here, if you click on it, 034A, if you click on it, please, and allow. It will take you right to the repository where the images are located and hosted by someone that services the University of Texas Pan American Special Collections. Now, this is to get you to the site. To get to the image, it was 34A. You have to remember that number. You scroll on, or if you click this tab here where it says contents, you can get it without all the images, or you can do like you're doing. He's already going to 34A. And there it is. When you click on that, you now have the original Cayetano Medrano. This is available without the book, but I've used, I'm going to say I spent 6 years looking at these records one way or another, and I could never decipher them until I said, okay, I have to do this so where other people can make it easier. So I can make it easier for other people. He's probably at the bottom of the record. Is that correct? There's Cayetano. And when I released the book, the person who's interested in his name, of all the records, somebody says, you put that he was a mestizo and he's an Espanol. I'm like, oh no, let me go back and look. But look, I'm sharing this now, right? It says Cayetano, and then it says May, right? And by this time, I'm only extracting the cast information. And I didn't recognize that it was his last name. And down here it says Españoles for both of them. So I corrected that. The book now has the correct information. Beauty of digital publishing. All right. So we can, everybody see how easy it is? Any questions on that part? To get to the records. All right. And thank you for the name, a name that I appreciate. Can you get to the slides again, and then I'll leave you alone for the rest of the. Thank you so much.
There's a question here.
Yes.
Sir, may I say it was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
I'm a retired teacher from Reynosa High School,
Okay.
and one of my most lively and interesting students was named Sabino Davila,
Okay.
and that doesn't ring a bell as far as someone in your family.
The bell Davila is real loud. The reverberations, I don't know them. But I'd be interested in getting any or all information.
He's the assistant manager of one of the adult care centers by the Loop 599. And he has a sister, and they're wonderful people.
Wow. Now now you're already putting Division 1 through. I'm hoping someday someone might say that about. Okay. So yes, I'd love any information connected. I've researched every Davila name that I could possibly, that runs across my path, whether I'm related to them or not. So I'll show you that in a little bit.
Thank you.
No, thank you, sir. And I apologize for moving without recognizing that. So here we are, the recap. And that is the presentation regarding the book. Any questions before we move to this last 5-minute? No questions? Great. Special projects, every project that I'm connected to or the people contact me, why don't you do this? I say, is it related to Reynosa? That's my area of interest. That's the one I'm sticking with. Why? You saw at the beginning. There's hardly any information about Reynosa. That's been compiled. A lot of it's out there, but it's all scattered. So one of my projects is it's closing in on 20,000 personally researched document-based records, the best documents available anyway. A lot of these do not have primary resources or sources. I've already released an ebook for the diligencias. I found 3 separate sources for the diligencias proceedings, which include witnesses and background information on the bride and groom. And I always love information about the marrying priest because their histories are pretty well traced and recorded. That's another way to find information. Digital archives is another thing that I'm pretty handy with computers, so I'm working on that. And transcription. So I'll go through these slides here. Here's my Ancestry.com account, Davila Family Tree 2015, just to let me know where I'm at. Here's my number count. I've stopped uploading photos because I want to get the genealogies right before I add photos, any more photos. There's not a lot of photos from Reynosa, by the way. So that's my grandmother, by the way, on my mom's side. Here is the sample to the front page of my diligencia book for the 3 different years in which they were found. This is Captain Cantu's daughter, Ana Josefa Cantu. I think it is this diligencia that says, I've known these people for 17 years, a esta parte, at this place. That's this 1751 minus 17 predates 1749 by many years. So Carlos Cantu was some of you may know this, he was a speaker of the native languages. You don't become a speaker of the native languages by living remotely from where the native language is spoken. He had to have been here already. He was familiar with the territory. This is I'm calling it I've accumulated so much information. I said, okay, I'm going to call it Davila Digital Archives. Most of it is on Reynosa or Reynosa founders. And here's an example of my personal ancestors and my cousin's ancestors. Thank you. He is the designer of this beautiful logo, the scroll logo, that he said, yes, go ahead and use it. It would make a nice feature. Didn't it make a nice feature? I think it looks awesome. That's just my take. All right, so I have it set up to where when you access the record on this It's not fully functional yet, but here's an example of what's coming if you're looking for a Reynosa ancestor. You click on it, you have a choice to click on it in English. It provides a book-like, there's no book on these marriages, so I'm creating one, so to speak. It creates a book-like register of the marriage and the layout of it. And you can click the English version, and all of this is spelled out in English. Some of our family members don't speak Spanish, so you're going to have that choice. The transcriptions. This is an example of a page where I'm showing this is one of the land grants. And I'm not in the land grant research. If it connects, but I'm not looking for anything in that angle. And you can use a page that I have available, and you can make a transcription. You can email it to yourself. You can save it for your own records, or you can save it as part of a project. That's what I hope to do with this, because there's so much transcription that needs to be done. Do you guys agree with me on that? There's still so much more that can be done? All right. I mentioned colonies above, Las Villas del Norte. I think that's a very promising tool to use. This is my Nuevo Santander website, which you saw a few sample pages of. I think if we get in the Texas education system, we could do it at the very early stages of first and second graders, and they could read a little 1-minute capsule about our ancestry. You know, they're going to get, just like I did, we know all about Stephen F. Austin and John Alden and all the wonderful people that made the United States possible. But we're missing from the history books. And it's okay that we know that we're part of this country too. I hope you agree with me on that. Hispanic genealogy resources, we're lacking on that. As far as we've advanced, we still need a good way to go. This is probably the #1 place, the #1 organization that's positioned to do something important in that regard. And to do that, well, people have to get involved. Hopefully I can lend my hand in that. DNA, I mentioned earlier, DNA is like the most exciting tool that's come along in genealogy in so many years. My personal interest in it, I'm researching the Reynosa settlers. I want to know about them. And I think it will add value to other pieces of information. I'll give you an interesting thing though. Carlos Cantu, one of my personal heroes, he's kind of like a Davy Crockett or Daniel Boone to me, right? So Carlos Cantu, the people that have done their DNA, that say that they're related to Carlos Cantu, well, they have different DNA, some of them. Now, someone isn't related to that particular Carlos Cantu. I don't know which one is which. I think I have an ancestral link to him, so I kind of want to know who he is too. All right? And I think I know who Cayetano Cantu was. I think he's one of his sons. All right? Texas Education, I mentioned earlier. Texas Government Land Office just released a Texas Educators Resource. Look, give it a quick. We have a new commissioner. His name is George Prescott Bush. George Prescott Bush, can't remember his mom's last name, but she's from León, Guanajuato. Anyway, the Texas Educators Resource pretty much says that Texas started, the Spanish Texas started at the Alamo in 1720, which it did, right? And then it skips to Stephen F. Austin, and it's like anything south of San Antonio didn't exist. I'm sorry, but we've been here for a long time. I think we exist. I think we deserve mention at some level for all of the contributions that our ancestors have made. I hope you guys can agree with me on that. And GLO is the next, what an opportunity. Here's a guy with Mexican ancestry. Maybe, you don't know. And then the Liberty Wall. This is my view. It's my personal view. I'm not here to sell. I'm just here to represent who I am. The Liberty Wall. Anyone know what I'm talking about? You know the Statue of Liberty? We don't have a Statue of Liberty. We have an iron wall that's been built in our country. The world celebrated when a different wall came down. The whole world celebrated. And yet we turned around and we built one ourselves. I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense. I know there's danger. It's a complicated issue, but I'm hoping in my lifetime another wall comes down. Maybe. That, ladies and gentlemen, that's my presentation. I'll take comments, questions.
Make a point.
Yes.
I was at Reynosa High School from 1984 to 2007. And I think it will be most gratifying to all of you to hear this story. It is that when the colleges and universities come to recruit young people from throughout the valley, I would often, because I believe in the quality of the education that's being offered here in the non-existent part of South Texas, I would ask the recruiters, knowing what they were going to say, because they said it almost universally, where would you rather recruit than any other part of the state of Texas for UT, Dallas, Texas Lutheran? Just go down the list. There was no question in their mind they want to come here. Because the young people are so talented, they are so hungry, and they will do anything they can to get the best education possible. And they're doing it. It is happening. It's been happening for quite some time, and it is pitiful, in my opinion, that there isn't more recognition. But it's a kind of a quiet revolution, you can call it. I guess.
Maybe
I agree with it. I'm connected every word that he said.
True.
So what's the origin of the name Reynosa?
Reynosa, most of the towns in Nuevo Santander were named for the original Santander, where the viceroy at the time was from. So there is a Reynosa in Spain.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a Soto de la Marina, and a lot of the names are, they bought Santander, they said. Nuevo Santander. And then they started naming them the same as they were over there. So, I do have today, a lot of you are going to be familiar with George Farias from Borderland Bookstores. He received, he indicated interest in my book. He received it. He said, Mr. Davila, you've undervalued your book. I'm going to put it for sale for $60, and I'll be mailing you an additional revenue from each sale. That he emphasized something to me that my wife had told me the whole time. She goes, you're silly, those aren't $20 books. I said, yes, but I'm doing it to help people. I'm raising the price of my book. You can buy it today for the price that I've indicated. It's $25. It includes the e-file. If you were to price those separately for this kind of book, the prices would be much greater. This is my sales pitch. If you want to buy this book at a good price, today is a great day to do it. So you can see me afterwards. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's an honor for me to meet more of my family, so to speak.
Mario, we want to honor you with it.
Yes, let's get out of the line.
Let's get into the, so that she can take our picture.
Okay.
Yes.
A certificate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, definitely.
And here's the column I wrote. You're in the newspaper. Thank you so much.
All right.
Great presentation.
Okay.